Welcome, everybody, to level 70 of the Sandbox Gamers After Dark podcast. Oh, wait, we're not the... Start over. Welcome, everybody, to level 70 of the Sandbox Gamers podcast. That was a Freudian slip, I suppose. We're a weekly podcast where three widgets meet weekly to talk about life, love, and the pursuit of vidya. Thank you so much for joining us. I am your co-host with the most, Wonder Rob, coming at you live. Not live this time, actually. It's semi-live because we're recording at 8 in the morning on a Saturday like crazy people, like psychopaths. And I'm coming from Southern California, and on the line with me are two of my best Arizona friends in the metaverse. The Morty of our podcast, Vactor.
You son of a... I'm in.
And the Mr. Meeseeks of our pod, the always angry JeffW the second.
I don't even remember what Meeseeks says.
He says, I'm Mr. Meeseeks! Look at me! I'm Mr. Meeseeks! I'm glad you enjoyed that. It's 8 in the morning. And I'm Rick. Burp. I don't have a burp on deck.
All right.
But it says burp in parentheses.
He usually does.
Oh, man. I can't
usually do it on cue, on command.
I can't start the podcast over again. No, it's too early for this. Oh, boy. All right. Anyways, thanks for joining us, everybody, for another fun-filled episode of the Sandbox Gamers podcast. If you're not already subscribed, hit subscribe on whichever podcatcher you're listening to us on. Sometimes we stream this podcast, but we figured it is Saturday morning. It is 8 a.m., and the one or two people who might actually be watching live are probably asleep right now. But don't worry. For the one or two people that might actually go to YouTube and watch it later, it'll be there. It's just not live. You get it. You get it. All right. So we got lots to talk about this week. We got tons of video game news. We're going to talk the video games we're playing. If the loyal listeners recall, JeffW promised he would have Tears of the Kingdom beat by this week.
Such a
shit. So we have some Tears of the Kingdom talk. I can't wait to hear Jeff's thoughts. And tons of other things too. But before we start, I always have to remind you that JeffW is always DTF. What does that stand for, Vactor?
Down to talk Meeseeks. With an F.
With an F. Silent F in the word Meeseeks.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Mr. Meeseeks. I'm here to talk fun.
Yeah.
We love it. All right, so before we get into the video game talk, my mom's here to visit, which is fun. You know, she came to see. I'd like to think that she came to see me, but odds are she's just here to see my 4-year-old, her grandson, which is fine. She brought him Legos, the whole 9 yards, doing the grandma thing. So, something I wanted to tell you last night. I thought you boys would get a kick out of it because it is Star Wars related. And I know one of us in this pod is the biggest Star Wars fan there is. And then there's Vactor and Jeff. So, last night, as we were putting my son to bed, we'll get him in his bed and we always read him a story before bed, right? And we'll always say, who do you want to read the story, Mom or Dad? And he picks. But last night he says, Nana. I want Nana to pick the story or read the story. And so my mom says, great, I'll read the story. And so Link picks a book, and it's a Star Wars book. It's about how anybody in the universe can be a Jedi.
Yeah.
And I don't have the book in front of me, but it's a children's book, as you can imagine, and it goes over all the characters like Padme and Rey and Yoda and Jar Jar, and just like little blurbs about them. The whole message being that anybody can be a Jedi, but it's really about how you can be anything you want when you grow up. That's the message. So, my mom is reading this to him last night, and she gets to a point in the book, and I'm going to paraphrase, but she says anybody can be a Jedi if you're young, like Rey, or if you're old, like Yoda. And Link immediately says, old like you. To my mom. And I about fell down in the hallway because I was in the hallway walking back to the room and I heard him say it and I about collapsed in the hallway and my wife was in the room and I peeked around with a big smile on my face and made eye contact with my wife and she just was like covering her mouth and I said, oh, I know Bacter's gonna love that story.
That makes me happy.
What was
That
your
was-
mom's response?
My mom didn't say anything. She just sort of chuckled and laughed along. And we said,
Dang.
"Yeah, you know what? Kids are gonna be kids. Kids are gonna be kids." And we also last night bought Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
out on
Nice.
VOD. And
That was
you know-
quick. That like wasn't that in theaters? Like didn't that just hit theaters like
about
3
a month
weeks ago?
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
a month ago, if you look at our podcast episodes, but
Right.
it didn't really perform in the
Ooh.
theater, Jeff. I'll tell you where it made
That-
its money was
fucking Barbie.
the toys, Jeff.
Oh, yeah.
That's where it made it money. It made all the money in the toys. But anyway, we sat down and watched Ninja Turtles, and of course my mom hadn't seen it, but she's being a good sport, and she's watching Ninja Turtles with Link, and Link was explaining everything to her. He was going, Raphael's the red one, Nana, and that's Superfly. And my mom says, Superfly? Ha ha ha, what a funny name. And then Superfly actually shows up on the screen, and my mom says, oh, his name really is Superfly? And Link stands up and gets real close to my mom and goes, I told you, Nana.
Yes.
Oh,
This
he's
is
being a little
perfect.
smart aleck. He's being a little a little guy, and I love it. And I said, that's my boy. You telling my mom all about Ninja Turtles. She's reliving it. She's reliving it. So we're having a good week over here. I'm sure I'll have more Link mom stories for next week's pod because she's here for 2 more days,
Yes.
boys.
We
2 more
need it.
days. All right. Okay. So that's enough nonsense talk. All right. So it's time to move on to the strategy guide section. Let's talk video game news. Factor, take it away.
Super Mario Brothers Wonder is Jeff's most anticipated game for the rest of 2023. But guess what?
I think so.
What?
There's going to be a whole new approach to 2D Mario games,
Are you
This
serious?
comes- courtesy of Kotaku. Now, there's too much stuff in this report, so I'm just going to read the quick headline for you.
Yeah, hit the headlines.
So this is going to, right now, as of this moment, we know that this side scroller is going to include asynchronous online co-op, brand new
Ooh.
enemies,
What?
hilarious abilities,
What? How hilarious.
and more. That it's as funny as any elephant noise we've made on the podcast before. Yoshi is going to be able to carry an elephant. So what do you think about that, Rob?
I actually am very much looking forward to Super Mario Wonder. What I wonder about this game is if we're going to see a big leap. Like, you remember Super Mario Brothers 3 to Super Mario Brothers World, or not Super Mario Brothers World, Super Mario World. Super Mario 3 to Super Mario World. It's 8 a.m., guys. Super Mario 3 to Super Mario World. How everything, it was still the same, but it was so different at the same time, the worlds were more expansive, the art style was different, but it felt like a big leap. And you have these old Super Mario games, I guess they're old now, but they're called New Super Mario, where they made, I don't know, a half dozen of these, and I got bored of those so fast, boys. I don't think
The 2D ones.
Yeah, I maybe completed the first one that came out on the 3DS, but and I tried every single one of them, but I definitely did not stick with them. Just something about them, they just felt old and stale. And yeah, it's Mario, but I prefer him in, a 3D space versus a 2D side scroller. So I'm really hoping, I'm really optimistic that this game is going to recapture that something different feel, like when Super Mario World came out versus Super Mario Brothers 3, or even Super Mario 64 versus Super Mario World, even though those are drastically different games, but you still had the feel, I'm looking for the feel, boys. That's what I want.
That switch to actual 3D was revolutionary, and that, set up everything that we're doing today with multiple joysticks, multiple analog sticks, and just adding that extra dimension completely changed it. So this, they're trying to say, is going to completely revolutionize 2D gaming all over again, Rob.
Yes, finally.
Yeah, that ain't happening. This game is gonna be a good Mario game. I have a feeling, but all this shit they're talking about, like, if you do this thing, it transforms the world. Like, yeah, that's, people have done that. Like, all this shit feels like it's been done before in other games, but this is still gonna be good because Mario turns into a fucking elephant again and again, baby. Let's fucking go. That's all we need. Fuck the rest of this game. No one gives a shit. Turn me into an elephant. That's what I want.
I'm also interested in hearing these new voices, which we touched on last week. I didn't realize that they were new voices. Oh, yeah, no, I was just going to say, I didn't know.
It should be, it would be his, our first one with the new Mario. They said, I saw in the Kotaku article that it was like people were pointing out in the trailer that it sounded different. I can't tell. It all, they all sound the same to me, but I'm also not like, I don't know. This isn't like David Hayter and like Solid Snake, for me. Like, we don't have like long dialogue with Mario,
His name is Bill Hader. Come on. Thought you were a fan.
Oh yeah, it looks like there's 4-player co-op, fellows. Online co-op.
It'll be
like we need a fourth. Yeah, is what I'm saying.
Who should it be? Who's gonna be princess?
Tommy hates games. Yeah, Tommy, you're princess. No, wow. Tommy's Toad. Tommy's Toad.
That's the asynchronous part that the article was talking about. So basically, you're going to be able to play online and offline, locally and online, where you can run through the level alongside shadow versions of other players. So even if they're not specifically available at that time, let's say Tommy is out at a Metallica concert and we want to play some games, you can still interact, compare stats, and even revive each other if you die on a level. So that's this new, completely different approach to 2D gaming.
Oh my goodness. It says the full roster includes Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy, Blue Toad, Yellow Toad, Toadette, Green, Red, Yellow, Light Blue, and Nabbit. Who is Nabbit?
Norbit?
Dag Nabbit is what I gotta say. Oh.
Yeah, show some fucking respect.
I'm gonna be saying that Dag Nabbit joke over and over again. It says the bubble form lets you blow bubbles that can capture enemies from a distance or act as a moving platform. And the drill form gives your character a drill-adorned helmet that lets you burrow into the ground or ceiling. Revolutionary! I can't wait. Well, this comes out the same day as Spider-Man 2, boys. And
so they haven't moved that? No one's moved on that?
I think it's safe to say that we'll be playing Mario over Spider-Man. None of us are Spider-Man fans.
And by we, he means him. Because me and Jeff are going to be Spider-Man fans.
No. What the audio listeners can't see is that Vactor is dressed like Super Mario right now. And he's doing the old squeeze.
Yeah, he's squeezing it.
The old anaconda, a squeeze.
Yeah, where's Rob Squeeze It?
Oh man, there are tons of them in the fridge. I showed them to my mom. I said, "And you can have Squeeze-Its." And my mom just rolled her eyes at me. She's not eating those Squeeze-Its or drinking. She's not eating them or drinking them. It's 8 in the morning. All right.
Yeah.
So Super Mario Wonder's coming out a month and a half-ish or so. So obviously we'll be playing it. We probably won't review it before Spider-Man 2, but we will be playing it. And keep an eye on the YouTube channel. Maybe I'll play it for YouTube. Unless I forget. Unless I don't. So I'll do it unless I don't. That's my commitment. Right there.
And I also wanted to say
mhm.
that Wonder part is not just referring to Wonder Rob, but the Super Mario Wonder, the director of the game is saying that it's very difficult to surprise players today. So they're trying to keep this mystery and this wonder element of the game. So if you want to see the full article, check our show notes. But Super Mario Brothers Wonder looks to be pretty good so far, boys.
It's funny that you say that because I'm making an effort to not watch any footage of the game because I know it's supposed to be all new, all different, Marvel style. And so I'm trying to go in a little cold. So we'll see.
All right.
All
well,
right.
Something that is going to leave Rob a little cold is that Sony is raising the PlayStation Plus prices by up to $40 a year. The most expensive tier of the Game Pass competitor is going to be $160. So the annual subscription price is going to go up from $60 to $80. That's the lowest possible jumping on point. Meanwhile, PlayStation Plus Premium, which competes directly with Game Pass, is going to go from $120 to $160 a year. So they need to just make these. There's 3 different tiers. Just call them 1, 2, 3. The first one is PlayStation Essential. Second one is PlayStation Plus Extra. Third one is PlayStation Plus Premium. So there's Essential, Extra, and Premium. And each one is going up, like I said, a substantial amount. So Jeff and I were just talking about PlayStation Plus's annual membership yesterday.
Yes, as I recall, somebody in our Sandbox Gamers chat said I am given the dubious honor of purchasing their PS Essential plan for them if I feel like being nice.
Oh,
why'd Jeff say that?
Look at him. He's not even denying it. Oh, we forgot to mention that Jeff's got a stove behind him.
Oh, yeah, I do. I don't even know what you can see.
I didn't look at your new setup. Jeff's got a sweet new apartment. And last week it was the fridge, and now it's the stove, baby.
I can walk from my bed to my stove in 4 feet, baby.
You know what? You are living the life because he can get up and get them. He can get those pizza rolls.
Where my Cheez-Its at up there. My Cheez-Its over here. They're not behind a door. Like Rob would put them behind a door because he's a fucking animal.
It's true. It's true. You know what?
You keep that shit out.
I do not
hide it.
refute these allegations. I am an animal, baby. Oh my god, I can't even concentrate on anything this morning.
Hey, real quick, without even looking it up, what do you think the difference is between extra and premium on PlayStation is?
I haven't the singlest idea on what it is. Now, I'm pretty sure that just like always, I have been subscribed to this, and they have just been taking money from me, and I have not been utilizing it in a single way because I definitely have been receiving emails like, thank you for your subscription from PlayStation. I subscribed to it, if I remember correctly, when Stray came out because it was free on the top tier. And I was like, I'll just pay the $10 or whatever it is to play Stray, and I won't have to buy the game. And guess who forgot to cancel it? And guess who will still forget to cancel it probably immediately after this podcast?
Oh yeah, Rob did not learn his lesson from that Greek game that he liked so much, and he paid more than the price of just buying the game.
Immortals, yes, Immortals Phoenix Rising. Yeah.
He didn't learn his lesson, so I think these are going to continue. These services are going to continue to charge. But this is concurrent with Game Pass, which also hiked its prices up from $15 a month to $17 a month. Now, they don't do an annual discount like PlayStation does, but a year of premium, PlayStation Premium, is still $44 cheaper than a year of Game Pass. So let that sink in, if you will. Now, if they started putting stuff like Spider-Man 2 on there, maybe.
They'll never do it.
Yeah,
They'll never
it better
do
be
it.
cheaper than Game Pass. They do game trials. They do that bullshit where you play the game for 2 hours and you have to buy it.
I think that's great. I love the trials because I don't have to pay the full amount. And that's what they used to have on Xbox Live Arcade. Every single game used to give you a demo or a trial. When they stopped doing that, then I was like, well, I'm just going to stop playing games. How about that, gaming industry?
Mm-hmm.
You lost a customer.
Yeah.
Gaming industry. Take that.
So none of us subscribe to PlayStation Plus, but maybe one of us will get it for a Christmas present, Jeff. But
Oh, yeah?
speaking of Jeff, we know that Jeff is hugely excited about Starfield. But did you know it could take 130 hours to really start Starfield? A Bethesda executive said. He said, Pete Hines, we talking about here, Pistol Pete, as they call him. He said,
ketchup. You've tried his ketchup.
he needed to get past the main quest before Starfield really got going. So that was Pete Hines talking about himself. But this specific article's headline says, yep, I don't want to play Starfield at all. 80 hours in, and you haven't even started the main quest? Nope. Next.
Well, it should be noted that as of recording, Starfield is out in early access. It's not out for everybody just yet. And this article was published just a few days before early access began. So people out there might be having a different experience. For all I know, somebody's already beaten the game because there's always somebody who speedruns it at the top. But 130 hours, like I've played Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom for 140 hours. And I checked last night, so I know that's true. And I'm not halfway done with the game yet. I still have half the map to uncover. So I really do want to play this despite my history with Bethesda games. I've never finished a Bethesda game. I've played, Morrowind, Skyrim, all these Fallouts, and they're all okay to start, but there's just something about them that they lose me. And I feel like it's really the combat. It feels really floaty and smushy is the best way I can describe it, and loose.
Yeah.
Like Skyrim is a perfect example. You're walking around and you got your big sword and you do these swings. And I know a lot of people love Skyrim, so I'm not poo-pooing on their opinions necessarily. But I never felt like I was actually making contact with anybody. I felt like I was just swinging a sword, and then the air from the sword is knocking people over, is what it always felt like. And not just Skyrim, but every game. And I feel like after a while, it just it's not fun anymore. The story's fine, but as we've said in the past, gameplay's got to be good also. And so I'm optimistic for this game, but on the other hand, it's already taken me 140 hours to get this far in Legend of Zelda because I play games the way I play games. And I like to dive in. If I really enjoy the game, I like to explore all the nooks, Jeff, and all the crannies, Jeff.
I like to play.
Yes, I like to uncover the rocks and take a look at everything. And so I just don't know. I don't know if I have what it takes for another 130-hour game right now, especially because I'm playing Baldur's Gate 3 and all these little games that are going to be coming out, like Spider-Man, which we're going to sink 1 million hours into, and Super Mario, and whatever little game comes out in between, because I likes to play it all. So I don't know, but I have been arguing with myself, do I pay the $100 right now to get a 5-day early access? or do I just
Yes,
play,
yes.
or do I just pay the $70 and wait patiently for when
You
the
ain't got
game
nothing
comes
else
out?
to do. Just get it, Rob. It's so easy. Just swipe
He's
your
the devil on my
card.
Just
shoulder.
get it, man.
Just get it and then fall off the game. Just pay it and then fall off of it. I'll be playing it on PC. I'm really interested in seeing how it performs on the Steam Deck, because I know I've been sort of hogging this conversation about Starfield, but I'm going to keep hogging it. So all these early reviewers, are giving it decent scores, from great games to good, but nobody is complaining about performance on PC. All these reviews say reviewed on Xbox or reviewed on PC, and nobody's complaining about performance. But then if you go into the Steam community and look through the chat discussions, and people are like, my RTX 1,000,000 and my Intel 1,000 doesn't run it. Yeah. And so I'm really curious to see what it's going to be like, because I got rid of my Xbox Series X in favor of my PC. So I'm really curious if I am going to regret giving up my Series X or not. And I want to see how it plays on Steam Deck too. So we'll see. We'll see, boys. But I'll probably be Actually, I take it back. Me and Jeff will probably be the ones to play Starfield, and we'll talk about it. And Vactor will be jealous, and he'll wish that he got into it.
And Jeff left a little note in the show notes about Starfield. What does it say, Jeff?
Yeah, this game is looking like shit.
What? I didn't read down that far.
This game's looking like shit.
Yeah, tell them how you really feel, Jeff.
I don't know if you guys saw the article. So I've been watching streams, right? That's my only, because I am not fucking paying extra for this game. There's no way. This is Pete Hines is on here talking about taking 50 hours for side quests. Fuck off. No one is doing 50 hours, 80 hours of side quests.
Yeah, not me.
To pre-game a fucking video game. Get the fuck out of here. No one is doing that. Only nerds that like to complete Bethesda games 100%, which would be Pete Hines.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's just no. First of all, there's no way that it's like that. Second of all, Rob, you're right. This does, you know what it is. It's like when I'm watching people play, they get to the part where it's like in Fallout, Skyrim, where they get to the quest, they engage the character, and then it's almost like your camera slides across the floor. And then locks in with this bot that you're talking to, and then it's just them
it's perfectly
talking.
centered.
Yeah, and they're just talking right in your face the whole time, and you're going through the dialogue tree. Yeah, exactly. If you can, we'll post a clip of Rob doing that. That is exactly the vibe I'm getting, and I am like, oh fuck, because I beat Skyrim back in the day, but I think that might be the only Bethesda game I've ever truly beaten. Maybe Oblivion would count if you're talking like a group setting. I did beat that with like multiple people. We just played around on that game for a weekend, but I didn't do half the lifting on it, I did like a third of the lifting on that. So it was pretty simple. But yeah, man, this game is looking like shit. And I don't know if you saw the map. There might be a code. I don't know if that's in the
pulling
show
up the
notes.
map, baby.
Look at this fucking map. Put this article in the shit. And then it's, where are we at here? There we go. I'll send this link to you.
Yeah.
Look at this map. Like what? Like what is this?
Let's see it.
There's nothing in it. And they expect you to navigate with this thing. It's like,
is that outer space? Is that what this is supposed to be?
I guess so. I don't know what the fuck they're going for.
Like when you were in grade school and they give you like the little graph papers, it's just the dots, down, and you have to make little squares or whatever, or little.
Yeah, and there's nothing useful.
Called,
there's nothing useful on this map. Like, at least like if you get like a map in other games, it's like, oh hey, there's like this unexplored area. This is just a grid of dots and very little else, just some icons. There's essentially no use to this. Like I remember GTA 5, the like special edition of that game, when it came, it had a map, and you're like, you know what? I want the map, because if they have in the map on, that came with the game in the booklet, I want that, because if it has something like useful. I can go explore something. I could do. This is just a white grid of dots.
Hey, no need to bring race into it, Jeff.
It is. All dots matter. I guess I don't even. Yeah, maybe that's the wrong. I'm not going for that joke.
That
anyway.
hit me just in just the right place at 8 a.m.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. It is. This game is just looking real tough. I'm interested in there's a couple people I know that are super into Bethesda games. They play every one of the main Fallouts and Skyrims and all that stuff. I'm curious to hear their reaction to it once it's fully comes out. But man, it's just looking like fucking boring, man. I don't know how else to describe it so far in the footage I've seen. It's just it seems pretty standard Bethesda. I thought this was going to be maybe a little different. I was hoping maybe we would lean a little more into a Mass Effect, like you said, Rob. The gameplay to me is boring at times. I need that tight action gameplay, gun firing, whatever tool you're using, and this just seems to be
things, Jeff?
more of the same. Myself, when I have to play this game, yes. But my hopes, my expectations are low, but my hopes are high when this hits that Game Pass, baby.
Trent is spamming our Discord with articles from Kotaku of people not being too thrilled with Starfield. It says that there's no DLSS support, but modders have fixed that. That doesn't really matter for console players, but PC players would really want that.
Odd that they wouldn't have that in the release. Yeah, that is
And it says my pacifist Starfield run isn't going great. Hey, do you want to shoot things? Well, too bad. Or no, it says you have to shoot things. Essentially, is what it's saying. So we'll see. I'm despite all these things, I'm still interested in this game, and I do want to play it. So I'll probably just patiently wait until the actual release, unless my FOMO really just kicks in.
In 4 days.
In
How
4
much
days.
does it cost? How much does it cost to get early access right now?
An extra $30, Jeff. You have to pre-order the premium edition, right?
Also,
which it comes with whatever. I don't know.
Rob, are you not? So I already know your answer. Are you not subscribed to the Game Pass Ultimate?
Now listen, it might be the same thing as the PlayStation and the GeForce Now, where I am, but I'm not. Actually, I don't,
because it's free on there.
Well,
you're
you've
subscribed
gotta
to Game Pass Ultimate.
Oh, is it on Ultimate? You can get it right now on Ultimate?
No.
It's coming day one to Game Pass, but Rob's saying he's going to buy the whole game. So are you going to buy? You're actually going to purchase the game?
I might
Because it's on Game Pass.
But what I was going to say, Jeff, is if you can have the early access on Game Pass, Jeff, if you want, but you got to still pay the extra $30.
It's $32. I see.
Yeah. Or you can patiently wait until it comes out and pay your Xbox Game Pass fee and then play it that way. So I might, is there a fly in here? There might be a world where I opt for the Game Pass version instead of straight up buying the games. I have no shame in admitting that I typically just buy games when they come out to support the developer. But not just because I'm lazy and don't want to subscribe to a bunch of different things, because I know I'll never remember to cancel them. So we'll see. But I guess it's really going to come down to, within the next 5 days, am I going to cave and pay the extra $30?
Yeah, he will.
Or am I going?
Yeah, he will.
He's a bad influence.
He's going to get thirsty.
He's a bad influence on me.
Yeah, he will.
So we'll talk about, and by we I mean me, probably just me, talk about Starfield in an upcoming episode of the same podcast.
Yeah. We'll play. Oh, we're gonna play that piece of shit 100%.
All right,
I'm playing that piece of shit.
Down. Yes. Maybe Vactor will play it if he still has his Series X. It's on Game Pass, Vactor. Just play 15 minutes.
I don't
plus
pay for
another
Game
3
Pass
hours.
anymore. My Game Pass
Oh.
expired.
Well, okay. I guess it's just me and you then, Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on.
Now, something I will be playing is Red Dead Redemption 3, which this is I have been trying to confirm this ever since I found this 19 hours ago. The only place I'm seeing this online is this Instagram account, Puberty. And they say
Puberty.
Red Dead Redemption 3 has been confirmed by Rockstar parent company. But I'm not seeing the big sites reporting it, so I'm not 100% sure. Wouldn't this be something that everybody's covering? But they're saying that CEO Strauss Zelnick has compared the staying power of Red Dead and Grand Theft Auto to James Bond, stating they'll continue as long as they're profitable. So he's saying this is there's guaranteed that Red Dead Redemption 3 is coming. And I thought it was funny because the number one comment I see when I scroll down on this Instagram is Jack Black. Holy balls! So I had to like that for Jables. So that's apparently a thing, boys. Apparently it's coming out.
Yeah, I feel it's like not announced. There's been no announcement, obviously, because if they announced a Red Dead 3, you're right. Everybody would be tripping over themselves, I feel, to report this particular thing. So if Rockstar's parent company in some sort of phone meeting with the investors said, and Red Dead is staying power and Grand Theft Auto is staying power, so we'll keep making them. I don't feel like that's a game announcement per se, more of like an intent. It's like when you got a little high school girlfriend and you go, I gave him promise ring, I promise. It's a promise ring from Rockstar's
analogy,
parent
Rob.
company that we're gonna get a Red Dead sequel again in the future.
Yeah, it's like EA on an investor meeting being like, hey guys, we're gonna do a Madden this year. You're like, yeah, I already knew that. We already know you're gonna do a Red Dead 3. Just where I'm interested in the details, not the fact that you're going to do it. I know you're going to do it, because Red Dead, I feel like with the hype from the last game is like starting to be on par with GTA. And we're,
time travel activated.
Yeah. And we're, we haven't even seen, they haven't even actually announced GTA 6 yet, even though we've seen, all the leaks and all the information from it. Technically, they have not acknowledged, its existence outside of going after people for leaking footage. That's kind of the closest we've been, right? So I mean, I think this is like pretty obvious, although I would like to see Rockstar do something else, like give us a little change up here rather than just going back and forth between Red Dead and GTA. But it seems like we're waiting 10 years between each release anyway. So
right.
I think we might be stuck in a bit of a vicious cycle with these GTA and Red Dead games.
Yeah, and even if a Red Dead 3 is announced, don't get your hopes up, boys. You still have 6 or 7 years that you have to stay alive before Red Dead Redemption 3 comes out. Because Jeff's right. Yeah, and there's no guarantee for that. So just YOLO, you ought to look out is what you got to say. Because Jeff's right. Grand Theft Auto 6, we know it's coming, but we still don't know. It's not going to be till next year, probably at the earliest. Christmas next year, more than likely.
They have waited over a year after trailers have released for GTA, and we haven't even hit a trailer, right? So like, once the trailer hits and the reveal happens, then we could potentially have to wait like another year, 18 months on a GTA. Like I don't think we're getting GTA till 2025 or whatever.
Right. Like remember when they announced Red Dead Redemption 2? They announced it and it still was a year and a half before we got to have our grubby little hands on that game. So I'm not holding my breath for a Red Dead Redemption 3 sequel anytime soon. I'll be in my 50s by the time I get to play that game. But I also heard a rumor that their next game actually isn't going to be a Red Dead at all. That it's going to be another Grand Theft Auto style game, but get this, boys, it's going to be in medieval times.
Ooh.
Set in the medieval times. Now that would be dope. Of course, I don't really have any sort of credibility in the industry, so take that with a grain of salt. But that's the scuttlebutt online from the insiders. So keep an eye out.
You know what else is set in medieval times? Baldur's Gate. Balls deep in Baldur's Gate.
Oh man, I thought you were gonna say Blue Knight rules and Red Knight sucks, the big one. Thought you were gonna go in that direction, but you didn't. It's still fine because I picked up the slack, baby. All right. Before we talk Baldur's Gate, we're in the Let's Play section. Actually, Jeff made a promise last week that he would, in fact, have seen the credits on. So I'm taking that as he is ready to talk about it.
Yeah.
So Jeff, tell us all about. Oh, he turned off his camera. He turned off his camera.
Dang.
And he's back.
Jeff does not want to talk
Sorry,
about it.
what happened? There's a little static on my end
Oh man.
on that. I don't know what happened.
Oh man.
Sounds
Okay,
like fake news, if you're asking me.
All right, so I'm taking it Jeff did not fulfill his promise to
I
beat
didn't
Tears
promise
of the Kingdom.
shit. This is my time off this weekend. I'm finishing.
He
it
said, "I
this
promise." Do you
weekend.
recall? Do you remember that, Trent?
It
Roll
is
the tape.
We have it recorded. Insert
Yes.
the clip now.
That's
My
AI.
name's Jeff. My name's Jeff. This
This is the worst AI. This is the worst AI.
It's gonna Starfield is gonna suck. Tears of the Kingdom. I love it.
That was C. You heard it plain as day,
Jeff
folks.
said Starfield was the ugly one.
Little Teen Girl Squad for you, boys. Okay, fine. So you're off the hook. I just wanted to point out that Jeff did make a promise
He did say that.
and say it. But next week, Jeff, next week you will have seen credits and we can talk.
Oh
Tears
yeah.
of the Kingdom
put it in the
without
show
you
notes
spoiling
again.
me.
Oh yeah, baby.
Oh yeah. What I will say about Tears of the Kingdom that I am 140 hours in, and then I am just going down the list of side quests, side adventures, mother heckin', finding all the wells, uncovering the depths. I'm doing everything I can to prolong the actual story because the game is too good.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's too good. I wish Factor would have kept playing it. Some people that we know who are not involved in this pod stopped playing it because it was too hard. And to those people, I say,
Ooh.
grow up. It's not too hard. Okay. Speaking of too hard, though, let's talk Baldur's Gate 3. Now, I talked about this briefly last week because we ran out of time, and we're actually approaching running out of time on this podcast too. So we'll see. We'll see how this conversation goes. But my wife have been playing Baldur's Gate 3 on PC.
Yeah.
I'll recap the story from last week just briefly. Is that I was in the middle of the character creation, and I told my wife that you can pick penises, and she immediately ran up to see, and she ended up creating the character with me. Curiosity.
Cut
And
or uncut was the question.
Yep. And you know what? I got real close in there. I studied them pixels, Jeff, and they all ended up looking exactly the same. I just like last week. I said it's the pube style, Jeff.
Will the circumcised or uncircumcised penis change dialogue in the game?
Oh my gosh. I don't know if we're that far into the game yet.
Baldur's Gate, next time you make this kind of game.
So she decided to play the game with me after I begged her for hours. She decided, yes, I will play this game with you. So we've been spending our nights hopping on this game. Now, how we're playing is I am controlling the characters as she is making all the decisions when it comes to the dialogue. Have you boys played Dungeons and Dragons before?
Yes.
Okay, so factors in there. Okay, so really the combat is all turn-based, Jeff. So it's not, there's no hack and slash or anything like that. So outside of the dialogue trees, which we'll talk about in a sec, or I'll talk about in a second, the combat is pretty straightforward. You'll run into an instance immediately. The computer will roll for initiative, and you have to take on all these players. I'm playing it on a controller, and I really feel like playing it on a mouse and keyboard is probably the easier way to be playing this game. I feel like I picked the harder difficulty, because how it works, Jeff, is you'll roll initiative, and you'll be, in this fight with 7 or 8 goblins, and you will roll or take turns between your characters, and a big wheel will come up with your options. Like, okay, are you gonna throw a fireball at them? Are you gonna hit them with your sword? But it's not just one wheel; it's 3 wheels, Jeff, and you have to go through all these wheels to figure out what are you gonna do to these people. Versus how I've seen it play on the mouse and keyboard, which is a lot more like World of Warcraft, where you have just your options, on the screens, and you can click and point and do what you want to people. So I really feel like I made the mistake of playing on a controller. But the combat is super interesting, because I have lost several fights in this game, but I've also won several fights, but not for my skill in the game, but for just straight up luck being on my side with these characters. Like, for example, there was one instance where I was fighting somebody, and I shot grease on the ground, so it's like slippery, so the people can't really walk on it. And then one of the bad guy characters also threw fire at me, and right next to the grease was fire. And one of the bad guys was coming at me to fight me. The computer saw the grease, said, no, we're going to go around the grease, and walked him through the fire and just killed the character. And I was like, holy shit. Like, did you just see that? This guy just walked through the fire. I've run into a lot of instances like that, where the combat is it's interesting to say the least. But man, I am enjoying the game because I'm playing it with my wife, but I feel like I picked the least enjoyable controlling scheme. So I do want to go back and play it on mouse and keyboard and see how that works. Now, when you're just in the regular game, walking the overworld and everything like that, that's fine. Great. The controls are perfect on a controller, but just the combat is a little rough. But where the game really shines, in my opinion, is the dialogue options and the way you have multiple approaches to deal with the problem. For example, there is a part in the game where you have to find a bear. As far as I can tell, the bear was in a prison cell, but he was behind a locked door. And so there are goblins in front of the locked door, and you can do all sorts of things like, okay, I'm going to persuade them. I'm going to intimidate them. I'm going to fight them. I'm going to sneak by them. And you have to roll for each one of these things. And some of these things are like, you got to have a 20. You got to have a 22. The dice only has 20 sides, Jeff. How am I going to get a 22? Well, that's based on the perks of the character and the class that I picked. And you get reroll options, and you try, and eventually things don't work. You just don't roll the numbers, and the characters say, I am tired of dealing with you. I'm going to kill you now. We've run into very fun options like that, and very fun options where you do actually just roll the number, and you can intimidate people and avoid a whole confrontation to start with. But what's super interesting about it is what I've found out about my wife playing this is that usually, you're getting your options like, okay, I'm going to be nice, I'm going to be medium, I'm going to be mean, I'm going to be very vicious. And my wife is always choosing the vicious and the mean options. And I keep saying, you're going to get us in trouble.
Get his dad.
And she does it anyway. And you know what? We've been getting in a lot of trouble in this game for the choices that my wife is making. But I'm committed. I said, I will let you pick how you do this. And my wife is also trying to sex up all these other characters. She knows you can sex up certain characters in this game. And while we have not been successful in sexing up anybody just yet, if there's an option that even has the remote hint that this is a sex up option. She's like, pick it.
Mhm.
Pick it. We're going to sex him up. And she's
She's looking for that hot coffee invite. Yeah.
yeah. But the story is pretty straightforward, at least for what we're playing. You know, you wake up on a ship, they put a little slug in your eye, and that slug is going to kill you within a certain amount of time if you don't get it out of your head. And it's a simple mission. Go find somebody to get the slug out of your head. Except it's not a simple mission, Jeff, because every 2 seconds there's somebody who needs your help or some side quest or some deviation from the main plot. And
Right.
we found ourselves, you know, we're out here trying to, you know, stop witches and stop people being tortured and all this stuff. And like, okay, but when are we going to get the slug out of our eye? Like, we still haven't even come close to that. And where's the Baldur's Gate? We haven't even seen the Baldur's Gate
No
yet,
gates.
boys.
You haven't seen any gates. Yeah.
No. And so we're like only like 7.
Baldur.
Yeah, exactly. We're only like 7 or 8 hours in because, you know, we're playing when I've committed to playing it when she's got a little bit of free time to play it with me. So we're not busting through this game as fast as other things, but I can say that it has opened my eyes in terms of how my wife likes to play video games versus how I like to play video games, and getting a little headbutt action when we're trying to make decisions on what to do. So I do recommend playing some in-depth fantasy role-playing games with your significant other, because especially when you're controlling the same character, because it does open your eyes. We haven't filed for divorce court yet, but
this will be mentioned.
But this will be mentioned, yes, in the suit. So Baldur's Gate 3, I'll leave it at that.
One question. So the like on PC, you know, when I've seen gameplay, like it's a lot of point and click, meaning like, oh, my character needs to go here, I point and click. You're playing it on PlayStation? You said?
PC. I'm playing it on PC.
Oh, you are playing on PC. Okay.
Yeah.
But you're playing on controller, right?
Yeah, but I am playing on controller rather than mouse and keyboard.
So does it let you just directly control the character? Like, do you just walk around with the joysticks and there's no pointing?
There's no pointing and clicking. The only part where it's the reason why it's so cumbersome is because I feel like the pointing and clicking is really how the game was meant to be played. Because if I go into, you know, an enemy camp and by the grace of God I didn't die and I managed to destroy all these people, you know, they've got all sorts of things to loot, people's bodies. There's things in tables, there's things in chests, etc., etc. And if let's say, you know, I walk to a table and there's 5 different things on there that I can loot. You have to walk up to it with the stick, and then you have to point the stick towards the item that you want to pick up. But the stick also moves your character, Jeff.
Right.
So you're bouncing between, okay, I want to point at what I want to get, but I don't want to move my character. But half the time it doesn't. Half the time it's, oh, you want to move? You want to move your guy? And I say, no, I want that meat on the table. Can I please have that? Versus if I had a mouse, you know, I could probably very easily just point at the things I want to pick up and pick them up like a point and click style, and then, you know, hold down shift or whatever it is to make my character move forward, or if it's just WASD or whatever it ends up being. Same with the attack trees. Like I said, it comes up with 3 big wheels that you have to scroll through, like Red Dead Redemption when you're picking through your weapons, you know, just like that, except there's a lot more options and there's 3 to choose from, and it's not exactly easy to get through, or the button combo to get into it and switch between wheels is a little cumbersome in my opinion. Like, there's one too many button clicks in order to get to where you want. But I imagine it would be a lot easier with just a mouse and keyboard. So I think I just fucked up. I think I screwed the pooch in picking the controller aspect. And next time we play, I think I'm going to switch over to mouse and keyboard and just see how it is. Yeah. But it is a great game. All the praise that it's getting, I think, is deserved, even though I'm not nearly as far into the game as millions of other people. From the taste that I've had versus the reviews that I've read and the discourse I've heard online about it, it's all justified in my opinion. Like, the game is super fun to play, especially the dialogue trees. Like, the combat isn't where it's at. It's the dialogue trees and the storytelling is really driving my interest in this game. So we're definitely, when we approach a situation where combat is obviously about to be initiated, we're rolling for intimidation or we're rolling for persuasion to see if we can get out of these situations. Because sometimes the fights, last 30 minutes and you die and you're like, fuck. And now I got to do this whole thing again. So always roll for persuasion, boys. That's what I got to say.
So
Speaking
does this make you want to play Dungeons and Dragons? Is it this experience? What is your takeaway about Dungeons and Dragons?
Well, I've never, like I mentioned last week, I've never actually played Dungeons and Dragons IRL before. I'm aware of the rule set. I've seen enough Dungeons and Dragons content to know how the game's played, outside of like the intricacies of making your own character and picking your class and all that stuff. But the wider scope of how to play Dungeons and Dragons, I understand. That being said, yeah, I absolutely would play Dungeons and Dragons. Actually, a buddy of mine, Nate, who I've done theater with here in California, reached out to me and said, hey, I host Dungeons and Dragons every Friday. You should come. He's a DM. And he said, you can come play with us, after he saw the clip of me talking about Baldur's Gate last week. So I might have an in, boys, when it comes to Dungeons and Dragons. We'll see. But if you boys wanted to play Dungeons and Dragons, obviously somebody would have to orchestrate it because I don't know what I'm doing, but I would be down as well, as long as it's not Tommy. Actually, no, I take it back. Tommy would be this is just a little inside joke, everybody. Tommy would be a very good DM, I think. It would be all about Metallica. It'd be a Metallica quest, and I could be down for that. So I'll keep playing Baldur's Gate 3. I don't know if it has Game of the Year potential on my list, although I know a lot of people are considering it Game of the Year already. But I guess that just depends on how far I get into the game before the end of the year. But I think that's to do it, everybody, for this week's episode of the Sandbox Gamers After Dark. Don't forget to like and subscribe, do all the things. Don't turn off the podcast yet, because I have a couple things I want to say to you guys. We are on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all the places where you can find our daily shorts. But more important than that, did you know Vactor has a whole universe named after him, and it's called the Vactorverse? Tell them about it, Vactor.
Oh yeah, this week in the Vactorverse, we're talking about a bunch of things. I actually did a review of Blue Beetle with my wife. We were driving to PF Chang's, and I said, let's record a podcast. So you get to hear me and my wife hungry, about to eat and fill our bellies, and then we recorded a podcast. So if you want to hear my wife's thoughts on Blue Beetle, you'll check out the Vactorverse. We're also doing an upcoming review of My Adventures with Superman. That's the Superman anime, which Jeff said didn't exist. Well, season 1 has now finished. So we did a review at the beginning of the season. We talked about our initial thoughts. Now we're doing a closing review. I'm going to be talking all about My Adventures with Superman with Frank and Tim and Mark Vibert. We've got all the crew who originally talked about in the first episode, so you can actually check that episode out on the Vactorverse feed. But we're going to be talking about the closing and our final thoughts on season 1. So that's going to be coming very soon to the Vactorverse on YouTube and all the other podcast channels.
Check it out, everybody. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the Vactorverse after you've liked and subscribed to us. We'll be back next week. Probably, maybe a scotch of Starfield talk next week. I don't know if I'll really have had enough time to really sink my teeth into it, but at least maybe some opening impressions of the game for next week. Me and Jeffy. Or if Jeff doesn't play Starfield, he will at the very least have fulfilled his promise of beating Tears of the Kingdom. And we will discuss that as well. Don't disappoint us, Jeff. Don't make us sad like you did this week, Jeff. All right, everybody. Take it easy. Thanks for joining us. And as always, GG.